Welcome to the next discussion on the in religion and ethical society. Now, previously we had discussed um, the perspectives in the study of religion and ethics, and at the moment we want to look at the historical or the relation between religion and ethics. I want to look at it in two parts. One is the historical relationship between the two concepts, and then I look at also the contemporary uh, relationship. Now, from the historical perspective, over the years, religion has been supplying the dominant ideology to society, and therefore has been the predominant source of ethics. And that's correct both in the medieval European society and in the African traditional society. During medieval European society, the Roman Catholic Church was the dominant religion, and it held society hegemonically to the extent that anything that was in opposition to religion was not allowed, and therefore religion, and in particular the Roman Catholic Church, was the source of ethics in the medieval European society. However, this hegemony started being challenged around uh, uh, the 16th and 19th centuries, and 20th and 17th centuries, by emerging philosophies like liberalism and humanism. And then the final blow was given by the Reformation of 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 Martin Luther, and that caused a collapse of the Roman Catholic Church's hegemony on the medieval European society, and consequently, uh, um, in the century, the challenge came from the emergence of rationalism, that is, the emergence of reason, of course, which also triggered the Industrial Revolution, supported by the emergence of science as well. And therefore, during that period, you know, with the emergence of science and reason in the 19th century, um, religion was being pushed to the periphery, and in fact was being questioned even increasingly by emerging, scientific researches, for example, led by one Charles Darwin, who brought, talked about uh, the, the theory of evolution of species, which challenged the Christian theory or the biblical theory of creation. In other words, science was becoming an alternative to religion, in the society. Now, uh, in pre-colonial Africa, the situation was more or less the same. African traditional religion supplied or was the source of ethics. In fact, one African scholar of African traditional religion, Professor John Samuel Mbiti, has argued cogently in his book, African Religions and Philosophy, 1969. He has argued cogently that religion in Africa, religion penetrated all aspects of life, and therefore you could not talk about the separation between ethics and religion. Thus, we must really say that in Africa, African traditional religion supplied as or acted as a source of ethics. Now, uh, a number of tools or instruments were used to um, enforce morality in African traditional society. One of these was curses. A curse in an African society is a very powerful instrument of enforcing morality. Curses were usually or are usually uttered by elders to the young people, and indeed they are feared. And therefore, wrongdoing can easily attract the curses by elders, and this prevents young people from, doing things that contradict morality. The other instrument that was used were taboos. Taboos are customary sanctioned prohibitions regarding certain forms of conduct. Violation of taboos fetches automatic consequences on those involved. Examples of taboos may include abusing a man of accusing somebody who's older than you, or even banning, azon, okay, marrying a member of one's own clan, and so forth. These were considered taboos, whose violation fetched automatic consequences on the individuals involved. The other instrument that was used to enforce morality in African society are councils of elders. Elders in the African society are very much respected. Okay, and they are considered the custodians of African traditional religion. Okay, and therefore they were the makers of rules. They were the diviners of ethical standards, and therefore their word was law and must be followed. And therefore, they acted as instruments of enforcing morality. In fact, they were even the court. They supplied the courts that made judgments on those who violated the rules of conduct in society. The other source of morality in Africa were the ancestor spirits and the living dead. Okay, these are very powerful agents. To live in the spirit world, was a privilege because one was able to oversee the conduct of members of society. And in Africa, ancestors are the most respected. Okay, and their will had to be respected forever, and therefore they acted as guardians of morality in African society. Then songs are very common in Africa. Songs are very common in Africa, and they can praise or condemn wrong behavior. So if somebody misbehaved or violated known norms, it will be the behavior will be condemned through songs, and it could warn the rest of society that it's wrong to do what this person has done, and so forth. Yes. And having said that, I want to turn to the contemporary relationship between religion and ethics in society. There is a divorce. We must see a divorce between religion and ethics in the contemporary society since the 19th century. There has been a divorce, okay, such that the two have emerged as independent areas of investigation. Now, among the forces, the sources of authority in ethical judgment in contemporary ethics, according to Henry Odero Oruka, 1990, I include the following: instinct. Okay, instinct. Instinct is a kind of a natural, fact in every living thing. Okay, um, and it helps animals, for example, to survive. Even human beings have instinct. uh, Sometimes instinct becomes a source of ethics. You know, the fear factor. You fear doing A, B, C, D. Because of the unknown consequences. The other source of ethics in contemporary society is concerns. Concerns is inner reasoning, which is only given to human beings, right? And it acts as a powerful source of ethics. Concerns directs individual decisions because it's a debate that every normal human being does within himself before engaging in an activity. Customs. Customs are popular habits, things that we do always. Okay? These habits many a time dictate to us what's good to be done at any given time. Customs are very important. People have customs, societies have customs. Okay? Families have customs to be followed. Religion is the other one. Either Christianity or Islam. If you are a Muslim, you follow Islamic ethics. If you are a Christian, you want the influence of Christian ethics. And the other point, the other source of contemporary ethics, the most important, of all, but not, really that others are not important. Reason. In the reason, in philosophy, reason is the final court, is the final authority in judgment, and therefore, it is the source of ethics. Reason entails that people, good reasoning entails that you have a number of facts. Okay, you have a number of facts, and then out of the fact you deduce truth. Okay, so moral philosophy or ethics is a philosophical concept that is based on reason. So, having said that, we need now to indicate some areas of conflict between religion and ethics in the contemporary society. Okay, one obvious area of conflict between religion and ethics in the contemporary society is the notion of the will of God. Okay, is the notion of the will of God. Okay, especially as obtaining in monotheistic religions, and in particular Islam and the Christianity. Okay, the will of God. Okay, the will of God sometimes runs against ethics or the ethical beliefs and principles. For example, philosophers have been asking this perennial question. Okay, if God exists, okay, He is powerful, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, and so forth, and very good. How come evil persists? Why is He not destroying evil? Okay, the fact that evil exists and devastates humanity, and yet human beings believe also in the existence of God, who is powerful, omnipresent, and good, then evil persists. Yeah? That's a contradiction. It's not believable. So, in other words, morally, it's not correct to claim that there is a powerful, omnipresent, omniscient God and a good God, yet evil persists. It only suggests that, or implies that God, if He exists, either is unable to control the evil, or is incapable, or it doesn't exist altogether. Now, there are examples of areas of conflict between religion and ethics a number of examples can be gotten. One is the example of Abraham. You all know Abraham. Abraham was a man of God who, because of his faith in God, attempted to offer his only son as a sacrifice to demonstrate his faith and obedience in God. Okay? By virtue of what he did, Abraham is described as the father of the Christian faith. Okay? But from a moral perspective, what Abraham did, the attempt at murdering his son, portrays him as an immoral man, a madman. Okay? He acted madly. Okay? His action was morally unacceptable. And indeed, even in our contemporary times, if anybody, any man, attempted to do what Abraham did, we must take that person to court, because that is violence against an innocent baby in the name of God, and so forth. Then the next example I am picked from the New Testament, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. It was the will of God, as according to the Bible, that Christ is crucified for the forgiveness of sins. Yet he was innocent. But from a moral perspective, the question is this: why would God cause the murder of an innocent person in the name of Christ in order to forgive or to cleanse the sins of the sinners? Why wouldn't God punish the sinners themselves? And therefore, when Christians claim that the cross is a symbol of salvation, for moralists, the cross is a symbol of violence. The other area of conflict is picked from Islam. Okay, then a concept of jihad. This concept, of course, which also means holy war, was initially used by the founder of Islamic faith, Muhammad, in the Arabic Peninsula. When he mobilized his followers and waged a holy war in brackets, against infidels or non-believers, and he forced everybody to become a Muslim. Okay, this jihad concept has often been picked by small jihadists here and there across the world. Okay, who claim that they are fighting infidels to destroy other human beings and so forth and so forth. This jihad concept in Islam is immoral, is unethical. There are some people want to force others to believe in their God, to believe in their religion. That is ethically it's wrong. But of course, those involved, the Muslims, celebrate that because they are serving God. But according to ethics, it is wrong, it's immoral. And so I want to conclude this section. After this, we have indicated that historically, the relationship between religion and ethics is that they were either one and the same type, something, or religion supplies the materials for ethics. Okay, so in other words, ethical systems in the old times in medieval Europe and in Africa were shaped by religion, either the Roman Catholic Church in the medieval Europe and African religion in Africa. And in contemporary society, they have divorced. The two are independent disciplines of inquiry. Ethics contemporarily has several sources, unlike in the past. Ethics has several sources we have already indicated. Now, that is the conclusion of this study, And I've given an assignment here, an activity that will help you to refocus on what we have discussed. Identify and explain any 5 areas of clash between religion and ethics in a contemporary society. Thank you so much for listening to me.